Welcome to this audiobook summary of success through a positive mental attitude by Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone, a timeless guide to unlocking the limitless potential within you. Imagine holding an invisible talisman, one side emblazoned with the initials PMA, positive mental attitude, and the other with NMA, negative mental attitude. This talisman, your mind, holds the power to attract wealth, health, and happiness or repel them, depending on which side you choose to turn upward. In this journey, we'll explore how Hill and Stone, two titans of self-help philosophy, teach us to harness PMA to transform our lives. Through inspiring stories, practical principles, and actionable steps, this book is not just a read, it's a roadmap to success. So, settle in, open your mind, and let's awaken the sleeping giant within you. Part 1. The Power of the Invisible Talisman. Imagine holding a talisman in your hands, an invisible yet potent force that shapes your destiny. One side glows with the initials PMA, positive mental attitude, radiating hope, courage, and opportunity. The other side, etched with NMA, negative mental attitude, casts a shadow of doubt, fear, and limitation. This talisman is your mind, and in success through a positive mental attitude, Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone reveal its dual power to attract or repel the life you desire. The Talisman Unveiled, PMA versus NMA. Let's begin with the core idea. Your mind is a talisman with two sides, each wielding immense power. Hill and Stone introduce this in the opening chapter. Meet the most important living person, asserting that you are that person. Your thoughts, shaped by your attitude, determine whether you climb to the heights of success or languish in the valleys of despair. A positive mental attitude, or PMA, is the right mindset, characterized by faith, optimism, integrity, and initiative. It's the force that propels you toward wealth, health, and happiness. Conversely, a negative mental attitude, or NMA, is its opposite, marked by fear, doubt, and inaction. It repels the very things you seek, leaving you stuck or spiraling downward. The authors don't just theorize. They ground this concept in stories that resonate with raw human struggle and triumph. These examples, drawn from real lives, show that PMA is not reserved for the privileged or naturally gifted. It's a choice, a habit, a skill that anyone can cultivate. Let's dive into 3 powerful stories from the book that illustrate the talisman's transformative power, followed by a cautionary tale of NMA's destructive force. S.B. Fuller, Turning Dreams into Reality with PMA. Our first story takes us to rural Louisiana, where S.B. Fuller was born into poverty as one of 7 children of a tenant farmer. From age 5, he toiled in the fields, driving mules by 9. Life was a grind of hand-to-mouth survival, accepted as fate by most of his community. But Fuller's mother refused to let poverty define her son's future. She told him, "We are poor, not because of God. We are poor because your father never developed a desire to be rich. No one in our family has ever wanted to be anything else." Those words were a spark, igniting a burning desire in young Fuller to rise above his circumstances. With PMA as his guide, Fuller chose a path to wealth, selling soap door to door. For 12 years, he knocked on doors, saved every penny, and kept his mind fixed on his goal. When he learned the soap company was up for auction at $150,000, he had only $25,000. Undeterred, he secured a deal to pay the balance within 10 days, knowing failure meant losing his deposit. He rallied support from friends, loan companies, and investors, raising $115,000. But on the eve of the deadline, he was $10,000 short. Exhausted and out of options, Fuller turned to prayer, not as a last resort, but as an act of faith. He drove down Chicago's 61st Street at 11 p.m., vowing to stop at the first lit business. There, in a contractor's office, he met a man he barely knew. With bold PMA, Fuller asked, "Do you want to make $1,000? He explained his plan, shared references, and walked away with a $10,000 check. That moment marked the beginning of Fuller's empire, as he gained control of not just the soap company, but 7 others, including cosmetics firms and a newspaper. Fuller's story is a masterclass in PMA. His mother's words planted the seed of desire, his persistent action nurtured it, and his faith in a solution backed by bold initiative, brought it to fruition. He flipped his talisman to the PMA side, attracting opportunities where others saw only obstacles. Hill and Stone note that Fuller's success stemmed from reading inspirational books like the Bible and Think and Grow Rich, which reinforced his belief. If you know what you want, you are more apt to recognize it when you see it. Tom Dempsey, defying limitations with PMA. Next, let's meet Tom Dempsey, a young man whose story proves that PMA can overcome even physical limitations. Born without half his right foot and with only a stub for a right arm, Dempsey could have accepted a life on the sidelines. Instead, he harbored a burning desire to play football, a sport demanding physical prowess. His parents, seeing his determination, had a wooden artificial foot crafted, encased in a special football shoe. Hour after hour, day after day, Dempsey practiced kicking with that wooden foot, aiming for greater distances. His PMA, fueled by desire, practice, and resilience, led him to the New Orleans Saints. On a fateful day in 1970, with 66,910 fans roaring, Dempsey faced a moment that would define his legacy. In the final 2 seconds of a game against the Detroit Lions, he kicked a 63-yard field goal, the longest in professional football history at the time. The crowd erupted, and even the opposing coach called it a miracle. A Lions player remarked, "Tom Dempsey didn't kick that field goal, God kicked it." But Hill and Stone see it differently. Dempsey's PMA, honed through relentless effort, made the impossible possible. Dempsey's story teaches us that adversity carries the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. His physical handicap became the catalyst for extraordinary achievement, proving that PMA can turn limitations into launching pads. The authors distill 3 principles from his journey. Greatness comes from a burning desire. Success requires persistent effort, and prayer can amplify your resolve. Dempsey's talisman was firmly set to PMA, attracting triumph where others might have seen only defeat. Henry J. Kaiser, building empires with PMA. Our third example is Henry J. Kaiser, a titan of industry whose PMA built an empire worth over $1 billion. Kaiser's story begins with his mother, Mary, who instilled in him 2 gifts: the joy of work and the value of serving others. She taught him, nothing is ever accomplished without work, and that loving and serving people is life's greatest purpose. These lessons shaped Kaiser's attitude, making him a man who saw possibilities where others saw barriers. During World War II, Kaiser's PMA stunned the world. Tasked with building Liberty ships to support the war effort, he declared, "We can construct a Liberty ship every 10 days." Experts scoffed, calling it impossible. Yet Kaiser, with his talisman turned to PMA, rallied his team and achieved the unthinkable, producing over 1,500 ships at unprecedented speed. His belief in what could be done, coupled with relentless action, turned skepticism into reality. Kaiser's impact extended beyond industry. His companies provided affordable health care, restored mobility to the crippled, and gave voice to the speechless, all rooted in his mother's ethos of service. Hill and Stone highlight Kaiser as a truly great man because his PMA was not just self-serving, it uplifted others. His story underscores that PMA can achieve monumental goals when paired with a generous, merciful attitude toward others. The Shadow of NMA, a cautionary tale. To contrast these triumphs, Hill and Stone share a story that illustrates NMA's repelling power. In a southern town, a woodcutter supplied firewood to a homeowner, knowing the logs needed to fit a fireplace's 7-inch diameter. When he delivered a cord of oversized logs, the homeowner asked him to split or replace them. The woodcutter, steeped in NMA, snapped. It would cost more than the whole load is worth, and hung up. Left to split the logs himself, the homeowner discovered a hollow log containing $2,250 in old bills, hidden for years. His PMA drove him to find the rightful owner, but the woodcutter's NMA surfaced again. When asked where the logs came from, he retorted, "That's nobody's business but mine," refusing to cooperate. His negative attitude blinded him to a fortune that was literally in his hands. This tale is a stark reminder. NMA doesn't just miss opportunities, it actively repels them. The woodcutter's refusal to adapt, communicate, or trust cost him dearly, while the homeowner's PMA led to discovery, and integrity. Hill and Stone note that good breaks come to everyone, but only those with PMA can capitalize on them. The universal law of attitude. These stories, Fuller's Empire, Dempsey's miracle kick, Kaiser's wartime feats, and the woodcutter's loss, illustrate a universal law. Your attitude shapes your reality. As poet William Henley wrote, "I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." Hill and Stone expand on this, explaining that we are masters of our fate because we first master our attitudes. PMA translates thoughts of riches, health, and happiness into reality, while NMA manifests poverty, despair, and defeat. This law operates regardless of your circumstances, whether you're a poor farmer's son, a disabled athlete, or an industrial magnate. The authors emphasize that PMA is not innate, it's learned. Some, like Henry Ford, seem to wield it instinctively, as when he insisted on the V8 engine despite his engineer's doubts. Others, like Al Allen, a salesman who turned a day of failure into a record-breaking 66 sales, learn it through experience and inspiration. Allen's inspirational dissatisfaction transformed a bad break into a triumph, showing that PMA thrives on persistence and adaptability. Applying the talisman in your life. How do you flip your talisman to the PMA side? Hill and Stone offer practical steps. First, cultivate a burning desire for your goal, as Fuller did for wealth and Dempsey for football. Second, act with faith, trusting that solutions will emerge, as Fuller's prayer demonstrated. Third, practice relentlessly, like Dempsey's endless kicking drills. Fourth, serve others, as Kaiser's legacy of healthcare and rehabilitation shows. Finally, learn from adversity, recognizing that every setback holds a seed of opportunity. The authors also introduce the concept of inspirational dissatisfaction, where dissatisfaction becomes a motivator rather than a deterrent. Al Allen's story exemplifies this. After a day of no sales, he returned to the same prospects, driven by PMA, and set a company record. This mindset turns failure into fuel, ensuring that setbacks propel you forward. Reflection: you are the most important living person. As we close this exploration, Hill and Stone leave us with a powerful truth. The most important living person is you. Your mind, your talisman, holds the key to your future. The stories of S.B. Fuller, Tom Dempsey, Henry J. Kaiser, and even the woodcutter show that PMA is not about luck or privilege, it's about choice. You can choose to see opportunities in adversity, to act with courage, to persist despite doubt. Or you can let NMA repel the possibilities that surround you. The invisible talisman is always with you. It's PMA side ready to attract the life you dream of. But it requires effort, faith, and action to keep it turned upward. As you move forward, ask yourself, what wouldst thou have? Wealth? Happiness? Impact? Whatever it is, flip your talisman to PMA and let it guide you to greatness. You've just journeyed through the power of the invisible talisman, a concept that can change your life. Carry these stories with you, Fuller's ambition, Dempsey's resilience, Kaiser's vision, and let them inspire you to choose PMA every day. The road to success begins with a single thought, and that thought is yours to shape. Part 2. The 17 Principles of Success. Picture a blueprint, etched with the secrets of the world's greatest achievers, men and women like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Andrew Carnegie. In Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone distill their wisdom into 17 principles of success, a roadmap to turn dreams into reality. These principles, woven through the book's core, are not abstract ideals but practical tools, forged in the fires of real-life triumphs. Welcome to a 20-minute journey into Part 2, where we'll explore these principles through inspiring stories and actionable insights. Get ready to discover how a positive mental attitude, PMA, can unlock your potential and guide you to greatness. The Blueprint of Success. Hill's 17 principles, refined over decades of studying high achievers, form the backbone of success through a positive mental attitude. Each principle, powered by PMA, is a stepping stone to achievement. While we can't cover all 17 in 20 minutes, we'll dive into the most pivotal ones: definiteness of purpose, applied faith, creative vision, self-discipline, teamwork, and learning from adversity, bringing them to life with stories that show their transformative power. These principles aren't reserved for the elite. They're for anyone willing to flip their mental talisman to PMA and take action. Definiteness of purpose, the starting point. The first principle, definiteness of purpose, is the spark that ignites success. Hill and Stone argue that knowing what you want is half the battle. Consider S.B. Fuller, the Louisiana boy born into poverty. His mother's words, "We are poor because no one in our family has developed a desire to be anything else," gave him a clear purpose, to rise above his circumstances. Fuller decided to own a business, a definite aim that guided every step, from selling soap door to door to securing a $150,000 company with a $10,000 prayer-fueled loan on Chicago's 61st Street. His story shows that a clear goal, paired with PMA, attracts the resources and opportunities needed to succeed. Hill and Stone urge you to ask, what wouldst thou have? Wealth, love, impact. And let that purpose steer your life. Applied faith, believing in the possible. Applied faith, the second principle, is belief in action. It's not passive hope, but a conviction that your goals are achievable, backed by effort. Fuller's midnight drive down 61st Street exemplifies this. Facing a $10,000 shortfall, he prayed not out of desperation, but with faith that a solution would appear. His boldness in asking a near stranger for a loan and receiving it shows how faith, paired with PMA, moves mountains. Hill and Stone cite biblical wisdom. If thou canst believe, all things are possible, to underscore this. They also share the story of a young woman who overcame alcoholism by believing she could change, attending AA meetings, and leaning on faith. Applied faith turns vision into reality, one courageous step at a time. Creative vision, seeing beyond the impossible. Creative vision, the ability to imagine what could be, is another cornerstone. Henry Ford's quest for the V8 engine is a classic example. When his engineers declared it impossible, Ford's PMA-fueled vision refused to waver. "I want it, and I'll have it," he insisted. Months of relentless experimentation followed, and the V8 became a reality, revolutionizing the auto industry. Ford's story teaches that creative vision, backed by persistence, turns impossible into inevitable. Hill and Stone also point to the Wright brothers, whose vision of flight defied gravity and skepticism, proving that PMA-driven imagination knows no bounds. Self-discipline, mastering your mind. Self-discipline, the principle of controlling your thoughts and actions, keeps you on course. Al Allen, a salesman for Combined Insurance, embodies this. After a day of 0 sales, Allen could have quit. Instead, his inspirational dissatisfaction fueled a PMA-driven comeback. He returned to the same prospects, refined his approach, and closed 66 sales in one day, a company record. Hill and Stone explain that self-discipline channels negative emotions like frustration into productive action. They also share how a couple saved their marriage by disciplining themselves to replace nagging with empathy, showing that self-discipline fosters harmony in relationships as well as goals. Teamwork, the power of collaboration. Teamwork, amplified by mastermind alliances, multiplies success. Orville and Wilbur Wright's collaboration is a shining example. Alone, neither could have achieved flight, but together, their complementary skills and shared PMA made history. Hill and Stone's own partnership, sparked by Stone's admiration for Think and Grow Rich, is another mastermind alliance. Their combined efforts built Combined Insurance into a powerhouse and spread PMA's message worldwide. The authors emphasize that surrounding yourself with like-minded, positive individuals accelerates progress, as seen when Stone distributed Think and Grow Rich to his sales team, sparking a surge in productivity. Learning from adversity, seeds of opportunity. Finally, learning from adversity transforms setbacks into springboards. Hill and Stone assert that every adversity has the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. Charlie Ward, a prisoner at Leavenworth, proves this. Convicted and confined, Ward could have succumbed to despair. Instead, he embraced PMA, studying self-help books, earning his high school diploma, and impressing his warden with his attitude. Granted parole, Ward became a respected citizen, his adversity sowing seeds of redemption. Similarly, Tom Dempsey, born with physical handicaps, turned his limitations into a 63-yard field goal record through PMA and relentless practice. These stories remind us that setbacks are not endpoints, but opportunities to grow stronger. Tying the principles together. These principles, definiteness of purpose, applied faith, creative vision, self-discipline, teamwork, and learning from adversity, are interconnected, each amplifying the others. Fuller's purpose drove his faith. Ford's vision required discipline. The Wrights' teamwork overcame adversity. Hill and Stone weave these stories to show that success is not a single act, but a system built on PMA. Other principles, like accurate thinking, clearing mental cobwebs, and controlled attention, focusing on goals, support this system, as seen in Brownie Wise's rise from Tupperware seller to vice president by staying focused and thinking clearly. Your call to action. As we wrap up, Hill and Stone challenge you to apply these principles. Start with a definite purpose. Write down one goal today. Practice applied faith by taking a small step, trusting the path will unfold. Envision your success, discipline your actions, seek allies, and embrace adversity as a teacher. The 17 principles are not just ideas, they're a way of life. As Andrew Carnegie, Hill's mentor, said, anything in life worth having is worth working for. Your PMA, fueled by these principles, is the key to unlocking it. You've just explored the 17 principles of success, a blueprint tested by giants like Ford, Fuller, and the Wrights. Carry their stories with you, and let these principles guide your journey. The power to succeed lies within you. Flip your talisman to PMA and start building your masterpiece today. Part 3. Practical Tools for Applying PMA. Imagine holding the key to a life of success, happiness, and fulfillment, a key that unlocks the power of your mind. In Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone don't just inspire with stories of triumph. They hand you practical tools to harness a positive mental attitude, PMA, and transform your reality. The Toolkit for PMA. Hill and Stone's genius lies in making PMA actionable. Their tools are not lofty theories, but everyday practices that reprogram your mind, sustain your momentum, and inspire others. These strategies, grounded in real-world success, empower you to overcome obstacles and seize opportunities. Let's dive into 5 key tools, brought to life with stories that show their impact. Self-motivators, reprogramming your mind. The first tool is self-motivators, short affirmations that combat negativity and boost confidence. Hill and Stone introduce phrases like, do it now, and day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better, which rewire your subconscious for action. Consider Frank Becker, a struggling insurance salesman who transformed his career with self-suggestion. Feeling defeated after a string of rejections, Becker began repeating, I am enthusiastic, and I will succeed. This simple mantra shifted his mindset, infusing his pitches with energy. Within months, he became one of the top salesmen in his firm, proving that self-motivators can turn doubt into drive. Hill and Stone encourage you to create your own affirmations, repeating them daily to keep your talisman on the PMA side. Goal setting, building your roadmap. Goal setting is the second tool, turning dreams into achievable steps. The authors advocate breaking big ambitions into manageable milestones, a method exemplified by Dr. Roger Bannister, who shattered the 4-minute mile barrier in 1954. Experts deemed it impossible, but Bannister visualized success, trained incrementally, and focused on each lap. On May 6th, at Oxford's Iffley Road track, he clocked 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds, a triumph of PMA and planning. Hill and Stone also share the stepstone theory, where every job is a stepping stone to your ultimate aim. Brownie Wise, a single mother, started selling Tupperware part-time. By setting clear goals, first to earn extra income, then to lead, she rose to vice president, revolutionizing direct sales. The lesson? Define your goal, map the steps, and let PMA guide you. Motivating others, spreading the spark. Motivating others is a powerful tool for amplifying PMA. Hill and Stone outline 10 basic motives: self-preservation, love, fear, sex, material gain, self-expression, recognition, hope, freedom, and immortality, and teach you to appeal to these to inspire action. A poignant example is a child's letter to her father, an alcoholic on the brink of losing his family. Her words, filled with love and hope, stirred his motive for self-preservation, prompting him to seek help and rebuild his life. Similarly, Clement Stone motivated his sales team by distributing copies of Think and Grow Rich. One salesman, inspired by the book's principles, doubled his sales in weeks, sparking a company-wide surge. Hill and Stone remind us that PMA is contagious. By uplifting others, you strengthen your own resolve. Using other people's money, leveraging resources. Using other people's money, OPM, is a bold tool for building wealth. Stone himself mastered this, buying a $1.6 million company with the seller's own funds. When a struggling insurance firm went bankrupt, Stone saw opportunity. With PMA-driven confidence, he negotiated a deal to use the seller's assets as collateral, paying over time while turning the company profitable. His empire grew, proving that strategic borrowing, backed by a clear plan, can create opportunities. However, Hill and Stone warn against reckless credit, citing a man who overborrowed with PMA-driven greed, losing everything. The key is PMA. Borrow with purpose, repay with integrity, and let OPM fuel your vision. Health and happiness, nurturing mind and body. Finally, health and happiness are essential for sustaining PMA. Hill and Stone argue that a positive mindset reduces stress and fosters well-being. They share the story of a woman who overcame chronic illness by adopting PMA, replacing worry with gratitude and healthy habits. Her recovery echoed the author's mantra. There's always a cure. Find it. Happiness, they add, begins at home. A father, estranged from his teenage daughter, transformed their relationship by listening with empathy instead of judging. His PMA rebuilt trust, showing that happiness grows from understanding. Hill and Stone emphasize daily practices, exercise, rest, and positive self-talk to maintain the energy and joy that fuel success. Putting the tools to work. These tools, self-motivators, goal setting, motivating others, using OPM, and fostering health and happiness, form a system for living PMA. Becker's affirmations lifted him from failure. Bannister's goals broke barriers. Stone's inspiration sparked teams. His OPM strategy built empires. And countless others found health and happiness through PMA. Hill and Stone stress that these tools require practice. Start small. Write a self-motivator and repeat it today. Set one clear goal and take a step toward it. Inspire someone with a kind word. Explore ethical ways to leverage resources. Prioritize your well-being. Each action strengthens your PMA, turning your talisman toward success. Your journey begins now. As we close, Hill and Stone challenge you to wield these tools with intention. PMA is not a one-time choice, but a daily habit, built through practical steps. The stories of Becker, Bannister, Wise, Stone, and others show that ordinary people can achieve greatness with the right mindset and actions. Your life is a canvas, and these tools are your brushes. Paint boldly, with PMA as your palette. You've just explored the practical tools for applying PMA, a toolkit tested by real people who turn dreams into reality. Carry these strategies with you, and let them guide your path. The power to succeed is in your hands. Flip your talisman to PMA, and start crafting your masterpiece today. Part 4. Overcoming obstacles with PMA. Life is a battlefield, strewn with obstacles that test your resolve. Failure, fear, guilt, or circumstances beyond your control. Yet, in success through a positive mental attitude, Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone reveal a powerful truth. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger, provided you wield a positive mental attitude. PMA. The PMA approach to obstacles. Hill and Stone teach that obstacles are not roadblocks, but detours, guiding you toward greater success if approached with PMA. Their strategies: embracing inspirational dissatisfaction, neutralizing guilt, conquering fear, and overcoming handicaps, equip you to transform adversity into advantage. These tools are not theoretical. They're proven by ordinary individuals who achieved extraordinary results. Let's dive into 4 key approaches, brought to life with stories that show PMA's power to surmount any challenge. Inspirational dissatisfaction, turning setbacks into fuel. The first strategy is inspirational dissatisfaction, where frustration becomes a catalyst for action rather than despair. Hill and Stone share the story of Al Allen, a salesman for combined insurance who faced a crushing day of zero sales. Most would have given up, but Alan's PMA transformed his dissatisfaction into motivation. Instead of sulking, he analyzed his approach, returned to the same prospects, and refined his pitch with renewed energy. By day's end, he closed 66 sales, a company record. Alan's story illustrates that PMA doesn't ignore failure. It uses it as fuel. Hill and Stone encourage you to channel setbacks into inspirational dissatisfaction, asking, "What can I learn? How can I improve?" This mindset turns losses into launching pads. Neutralizing guilt, a formula for freedom. Guilt feelings can paralyze, but Hill and Stone offer a practical formula. Make amends, take action, and practice consideration for others. They tell of a delinquent teenager who stole from his neighbor, spiraling into shame and fear. Guided by a mentor, he confessed, returned the stolen goods, and worked to repay the damage. This act of restitution, fueled by PMA, freed him from guilt and set him on a path to reform. He later became a community leader, proving that guilt is not a life sentence, but a call to action. The authors emphasize that PMA-driven amends, whether through apology, restitution, or changed behavior, restore integrity and momentum. If guilt weighs you down, take one step today to make it right, and let PMA guide your redemption. Conquering fear, reason, and optimism. Fear and negative emotions are universal obstacles, but PMA can neutralize them. Hill and Stone draw on Benjamin Franklin's method of listing pros and cons to make decisions, a tool that replaces fear with reason. They share the story of a young woman paralyzed by fear of public speaking, which threatened her career. Using Franklin's approach, she listed the benefits of overcoming her fear, promotion, confidence, impact, against the costs of avoidance, stagnation, regret. With PMA, she enrolled in a speaking course, practiced daily, and soon delivered a keynote that earned her a promotion. Hill and Stone also cite their own experiences, like Stone's fear of failure when starting combined insurance. By focusing on solutions and affirming, "Do it now," he pushed through doubt to build an empire. The lesson? Fear is a signal to act, not retreat, and PMA is your shield. Overcoming handicaps, turning limitations into strengths. Physical, mental, or financial handicaps can seem insurmountable, but PMA reveals their hidden opportunities. Hill and Stone highlight Helen Keller, who, despite being blind and deaf, became a global advocate through PMA, relentless learning, and the support of her teacher and Sullivan. Similarly, Charles Steinmetz, a hunchbacked engineer with physical limitations, used his brilliant mind and PMA to revolutionize electrical engineering at General Electric. His innovations powered industries, proving that handicaps are no match for a positive mindset. On the financial front, Michael Benedum's story shines. Starting with little, he built an oil fortune by leveraging other people's money, OPM, with PMA-driven strategy, negotiating deals that turned scarcity into abundance. These stories echo the author's mantra. Every adversity has the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. Your handicap, whatever it is, holds a seed. Find it, nurture it, and let PMA make it bloom. The power of PMA in action. These strategies, inspirational dissatisfaction, neutralizing guilt, conquering fear, and overcoming handicaps, work together to dismantle obstacles. Al Allen's sales triumph shows how dissatisfaction drives progress. The teenager's restitution proves guilt can be a turning point. The young woman's speaking success demonstrates fear's defeat. And Keller, Steinmetz, and Benedum reveal that no limitation is final. Hill and Stone stress that PMA is not about denying challenges, but facing them with optimism, action, and resilience. Each story underscores a core truth. You are stronger than your obstacles, and PMA is the tool to prove it. Your call to face the challenge. As we close, Hill and Stone challenge you to apply these strategies now. Feeling stuck? Channel Al Allen's inspirational dissatisfaction. Take one action to improve today. Burdened by guilt? Follow the teenager's example and make amends, however small. Gripped by fear? List your pros and cons, as Franklin did, and take a step forward. Facing a handicap? Seek the seed of opportunity, as Keller and Benedum did, and act with PMA. The authors remind us that the most important living person is you. and your attitude determines your destiny. Obstacles are not your enemy. They're your teachers, guiding you to greatness. You've just explored how to overcome obstacles with PMA, a mindset that turns barriers into bridges. Carry these stories: Alan's persistence, the teenager's redemption, the woman's courage, Keller's triumph, and let them inspire you. Your challenges are calling. Flip your talisman to PMA and answer with action. Part 5. The role of inspirational resources. Imagine a spark that ignites your soul, a beacon that guides you through life's challenges toward success and fulfillment. In Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone reveal that such sparks often come from inspirational resources, books, ideas, and tools that fuel your positive mental attitude, PMA. We'll explore how these resources, from timeless literature to practical self-assessments, can transform your mindset and life. Through stories of real people who harness these tools, you'll discover how to keep your mental talisman turned to PMA. Let's dive in and awaken the inspiration within you. The power of inspirational resources. Hill and Stone believe that PMA thrives on constant nourishment, and inspirational resources are the sustenance. Books like Think and Grow Rich, The Power of Positive Thinking, and the Bible offer wisdom that strengthens your resolve, while tools like the Success Quotient Analysis help you measure and grow your PMA. These resources are not passive. They demand active engagement, reflection, and sharing. The authors show us, through compelling examples, how ordinary individuals use these tools to achieve extraordinary results. Let's explore two key resources, inspirational literature and the Success Quotient Analysis, and see their impact through vivid stories. Inspirational literature, Seeds of Transformation. The first resource is inspirational literature, which Hill and Stone call the hand of God guiding you. They recommend books that uplift and challenge, such as Think and Grow Rich, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale, and the Bible, each packed with principles to bolster PMA. One striking example is Brownie Wise, a single mother who transformed her life after reading Think and Grow Rich, not once, but 6 times. Struggling to make ends meet, Wise found Hill's principles of definiteness of purpose and creative vision electrifying. She applied them to her part-time Tupperware sales, setting clear goals and innovating home party sales techniques. Her PMA, fueled by the book, propelled her to vice president of Tupperware, revolutionizing direct marketing and inspiring thousands. Wise's story shows that inspirational literature is not just words. It's a catalyst for action when read with purpose. Hill and Stone offer a 4-step method to maximize these books' impact. First, read for general content to grasp the big ideas. Second, reread for details, noting key principles. Third, memorize passages that resonate, like whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And fourth, revisit regularly for inspiration. They share the story of Nate Lieberman, a salesman who embodied this approach. After reading The Power of Positive Thinking, Lieberman not only applied its lessons to boost his sales, but shared the book with colleagues, sparking a wave of motivation in his team. His act of spreading inspiration, like sowing seeds, amplified his own PMA, proving that sharing knowledge strengthens your mindset. Success Quotient Analysis, measuring your PMA. The second resource is the Success Quotient Analysis, a self-assessment tool designed to measure your PMA and identify areas for growth. This questionnaire, included in the book, asks you to rate yourself on traits like optimism, initiative, and resilience. Hill and Stone emphasize that honesty is key. Acknowledging weaknesses is the first step to overcoming them. They illustrate this with the story of a young entrepreneur, John Carter, a composite character in the book, who struggled with procrastination and self-doubt. After taking the Success Quotient Analysis, Carter scored low on self-discipline and applied faith. Instead of despairing, he used PMA to act on the results, adopting self-motivators like do it now and setting daily goals. Within a year, he retook the test, saw his scores soar, and turned his fledgling business into a thriving enterprise. Carter's journey shows that the Success Quotient Analysis is not a judgment, but a roadmap, guiding you to strengthen your PMA. The authors encourage retaking the test periodically, as progress fuels motivation. They share how W. Clement Stone used a similar self-assessment to refine his leadership at Combined Insurance. After identifying a tendency to micromanage, Stone delegated more, empowering his team and boosting productivity. His example underscores that PMA grows through self-awareness and action, and the success quotient analysis is the mirror that reveals both strengths and opportunities. The ripple effect of inspiration. These resources, inspirational literature and the success quotient analysis, create a ripple effect. Brownie Wise's transformation inspired Tupperware's sales force. Nate Lieberman's sharing uplifted his team. John Carter's growth built a business. Stone's self-reflection empowered others. Hill and Stone stress that engaging with these tools is not a solitary act. Reading deeply, applying lessons, and sharing insights multiply their impact. They cite the Bible's parable of the sower, where seeds, ideas, sown on fertile ground, a PMA mind, yield abundant harvests. Your engagement with these resources can inspire not just you, but those around you, creating a legacy of positivity. How to harness these resources. Hill and Stone offer practical steps to make these resources work for you. Start by choosing one inspirational book, perhaps Think and Grow Rich or the Bible, and read it using their 4-step method. Underline passages, memorize affirmations, and revisit them when challenges arise. Next, take the success quotient analysis or create a similar self-assessment to evaluate your PMA. Be honest, identify one area for improvement, and act on it, whether it's adopting a self-motivator or seeking a mentor. Finally, share what you learn. Give a book to a friend, discuss a principle with a colleague, or mentor someone, as Lieberman did. These actions keep your talisman turned to PMA, ensuring inspiration flows continuously. Your invitation to grow. As we close, Hill and Stone invite you to embrace these resources as lifelong companions. PMA is not a one-time spark, but a flame that needs tending, and inspirational literature and tools like the success quotient analysis are the fuel. The stories of Brownie Wise, Nate Lieberman, John Carter, and W. Clement Stone show that these resources can transform anyone willing to engage with them. Your mind is the most fertile ground. Sow the seeds of inspiration, nurture them with action, and watch your life flourish. You've just explored the role of inspirational resources, tools that ignite and sustain PMA. Carry these stories, Wise's rise, Lieberman's generosity, Carter's growth, and let them guide you. Pick up a book, assess your strengths, share your light. Your journey to success begins with inspiration. Flip your talisman to PMA and let it shine. Conclusion: Awakening the Sleeping Giant. Success through a positive mental attitude is more than a book, it's a call to action. Hill and Stone remind us that we are the most important living person in our own story, equipped with a mind capable of extraordinary feats. By embracing PMA, we can turn adversity into opportunity, dreams into reality, and challenges into triumphs. The 17 principles, from definiteness of purpose to learning from adversity, are not abstract ideals, but practical tools tested by real people. S.B. Fuller, Tom Dempsey, Henry Ford, and countless others. Their stories, woven with the author's insights, show that success is not reserved for the lucky or privileged, but for those who choose to think positively and act persistently. This book's relevance endures because it speaks to universal truths. Your attitude shapes your destiny, and you have the power to choose. Whether you seek wealth, health, happiness, or a better world, PMA is the key. As Andrew Carnegie said, anything in life worth having is worth working for. So, flip your talisman to the PMA side, awaken the sleeping giant within you, and start your journey to success today. Revisit this book, share its wisdom, and let it guide you to a life of purpose and fulfillment.